few years ago when I was in Girl Scouts, my mom was our troop leader and she planned for us to go learn how to knit. We went to Michael's and they got everything and they gave us a teacher to teach us how. I picked it up fast and really liked it. From that day, I decided I wanted to learn another way to knit. I learned arm knitting, which is more easy and fun. I will give a little background, materials needed, and I can show you how easy it is to learn. MacmillanDictionary.com says arm knitting is knitting without using needles but arms. The Snugglery.net says the best yarns to use are bulky or super bulky yarn and to make sure it's made of wool. ApartmentTherapy.com says once you know how to knit regularly, learning how to arm knit is easy because it uses the same concepts. WoolandTheGang.com says arm knitting is a bigger version of regular knitting because the loops are bigger. Because of the loops being bigger, it is also faster than regular knitting. To knit a blanket, you need yarn, which you can either have bulky or super bulky. For this video, I bought super bulky yarn from Sweet Snuggles. You need scissors to cut your yarn at the end when you finish, and a needle to hide your tails at the end. To begin, you want to have 6 to 7 feet of your tail, which I have already measured out to make it easier. And then once you have that, you want to make a slip knot. And to make a slip knot, you take your pointer finger and your middle finger. You wrap the yarn once, twice, and then you'll tuck it under that loop you've just made. And then you'll have a loop that you can tighten or loosen to fit your wrist. I'll show you one more time. You'll take your 2 fingers, wrap it once, twice, you'll tuck it under, and you have your loop. You want to make sure that it's big enough for your wrist, but not too tight, and you want to be able to move it up so you can fit all 20 stitches on your wrist. Once you've done your slip knot, you want to cast on. For this blanket, you'll do 20 stitches, but for video purposes, I will show you how to do 10. You'll take your 2 pieces of yarn, and you'll take your thumb and pointer finger, and you'll split them and hold them like this, and then you'll bring your wrist down to make a Y. To make your second stitch, you'll put your pointer finger underneath the first piece of yarn around your thumb, over the second, pull the third through, and you'll have another loop. So now you have 2 loops. Again, not too tight so you can move them along your arm. I'm going to show you one more time. You have your pointer and your thumb through them. You're going to bring your wrist down to make a Y. You're going to go under the first piece of yarn, over the second, and pull the third through. Then you'll place that on your wrist. That is 3. You'll count each one as 1 different stitch. I'm going to do the next 6 faster. You want them all, you don't want them to overlap, so you want to be able to push them down on your wrist. Once you have the desired amount of stitches, you want to start knitting. This is your first row. You'll be doing your second row. By the time you have the amount of stitches you want on your wrist, your tail should be short, and then you'll be done with it until the end. You'll take your working yarn, which is the yarn attached to the ball. You'll hold it, you'll take your first stitch, you're going to drop it over your wrist, and you'll have a new loop, and you'll loop it over your other wrist. That doesn't have all the other stitches. You're going to want to tighten it, and then do the same thing. You're going to take it, hold it, drop your first string, make another loop, and put it on your other wrist. You want to tighten it, I'll show you one more time, hold it, drop this over, and transfer it. You want to do this as many times as you have stitches on your arm. Once you have finished that, you're going to do it for as many times as you want because you want to make the blanket as big as you would like. My pattern says to have 25 rows. For this video, I'll show you how to do 3. You'll do the same exact thing, moving back to the first wrist. You'll hold the working yarn, take your first piece of stitch, drop it, and loop it on your other wrist. Then you want to tighten it. Again, working yarn, drop the first stitch, move it to your other arm. You want to do this again for as many stitches as you have. Once you finish this, you keep going. Once you have the desired amount of rows on your arm, you want to cast off. To cast off, you take your working yarn and you do it just like you'd pull it off just like how you would if you're going to make another row. You'll do one more, and instead of doing a third stitch, you're going to drop the very first one over the second and tighten it. You're going to bring one more over, and then you'll drop the first stitch again. This is how you cast off. You'll do this for as many stitches as you have to make it finished. Once you're to the last stitch, you're going to take it and you're going to have to cut the working yarn to be able to get it to finish. Then once you're at the last one, then you'll just loop it through and then you'll cut it and then you'll be done. And then you want to weave your tails into your work. So your work should look like this, but bigger. And so I've shown you some interesting facts. I've given you the materials and I've shown you some procedure and how easy it is to learn how to arm knit. It is the easiest way to learn to knit once regular knitting is learned. And you'll find it is so much easier and faster. You can make projects so much faster. Like this blanket, you can make it in 45 minutes. I hope this presentation has helped you learn how to arm knit and has made it more interesting. Thank you.